Welcome to part 34 of Pokémon FireRed, and now we're going on to the third and fourth Elite Four members. And this is Agatha, you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's supposedly a ghost trainer, but a lot of her Pokémon are mainly poison.
Yeah.
She should probably change her title.
In fact, there isn't like a proper ghost Pokemon. It's all dual, innit?
Yeah, I think it's like they present her as kind of a ghost trainer, right? But her primary type should just be poison.
Yeah.
Because like, I think all of her Pokemon are poison types, aren't they?
Her type should be purple.
Yeah, what type is this Pokemon? Oh, it's purple.
Yeah, the purple type.
It's lucky because I think purple type is weak to orange type.
Makes sense.
They clash, innit?
I think it was interesting how they handled Agatha in the anime, because she was like covering the Viridian Gym when Ash got back.
Yeah,
before
that was the. Oh, I'm trying to remember. That was the not. It was sort of like the FireRed arc in a way, wasn't it?
It was the Battle Frontier, yeah.
Yeah, Battle Frontier arc. Sort of.
Which I still think was the best way they could have handled that as filler, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like, what it was that they had more time left, and I prefer them doing something like the Battle Frontier arc than what they did with Diamond and Pearl, where they sort of dragged it out a long time. but to be honest, Diamond and Pearl itself is much better than Decalora Islands.
Oh god, Decalora Islands. Why?
Nothing happened.
Why? It's like, yes, the end section ended, and then what do we do?
Is that meant to be based off, like, it's not in the games at all, is it?
Nah,
or is it just like, made
just,
up? It's sort of like an Orange Island thing,
yeah.
2.0.
So, Decalora Islands, I'll give it credit, it did something really impressive. It made the Orange Islands arc look interesting.
Yeah.
And that takes some fucking doing.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, I'd rather it be like Diamond and Pearl, where it just like abruptly ended and needed to wrap things up in 2 episodes just by having Ash lose to someone who was using legendaries.
Yeah, that was just such cop-out pacing. Like, how can you have like a solid year of filler and then run out of time? That is just such bad pacing.
From what I can remember on the Gen 5 anime, I remember getting quite bored of it.
Yeah.
I got to a certain point and I was just like, I'll skip a few episodes out and
What, you skipped it? I actually watched them one by one with those episodes.
That's sad, bro.
Same here, it was terrible. I don't know why I did it.
I just watched it to complain.
You're finally turning it to me.
You've got too much time on your hands.
That's what I do. That's why I even watched the Genesex movie, because it disappointed me the first time. I just wanted to see what other things would disappoint me.
Do you want to play Heroes against it?
No thanks, I despise it.
Yeah, oh god. Yeah, but with Black and White, they just tried to experiment so much in the beginning. None of it worked off, and then because of that, they had the rest of the series of trying to desperately scrape back at things. It's kind of like how they handled Team Rocket throughout Black and White, because they tried to make them actually competent early on in Black and White. Realised that people didn't take too well to that. But by the time they had a chance to try and bring them back to what they were, they didn't have enough time to develop any new Pokemon for them or give them any sort of plot.
Yeah.
So like that's why they were kind of really awkwardly written in the Decalora arc.
So like, yeah, they're like, they're not serious now. Like, just put it in. They're like, yeah, like they're serious and they're not. Like,
And then they got a Frillish and an Amoonguss.
Out of absolute fucking nowhere. Like, you can't have captures off screen for a main character, it just don't work. Like, I know they did it with Victory Bell, but like that was Gen 1 when all the writing sucked anyway. Like, just having these 2 new main characters team Pokemon coming out of nowhere, that's just such terrible planning. But again, that's because they run out of time at that point. They didn't have enough time to develop any Pokemon for Team Rocket whatsoever, so Team Rocket were just sort of awkwardly there.
Well, now in X and Y they have a Jesse has a Pumpkaboo and James has a Inkay.
Yeah, I watched the Pumpkaboo episode yesterday actually, and it's like, oh, that was really disappointing how they had the most lazy capture writing anyway.
I loved it. It's just like throw the Pokeball at it. Done.
No, but if you think back to like previous series, whenever they've had like Jesse and James catching new Pokemon, there's always been like at least an episode plot point around them catching it, isn't it? Rather than, oh, here's a new Pokemon, let's catch it.
like Survivor.
Yes.
That one was brilliant.
Yeah, I love Survivors.
Beat the crap out of it.
And anyway, according to 4Kids, Arbok evolves into Survivor, right?
Yes.
That cracked me up. Like, yeah. Trainers, what Pokemon evolves into Survivor? Arbok, yay!
It makes so much sense.
Yeah, it's not as ridiculous as that in the first film where they referred to the Pidgeot as Pidgeotto. I don't think 4Kids knew what they were doing half the time.
Pokemon aren't meant
Yeah,
to
that
fight
film had
not like
quite a lot of
this.
inconsistencies, didn't it?
What's that, Joe?
Well, Mewtwo Strikes Back did have a lot of inconsistencies.
Mewtwo Strikes Back is such a bad film, and I don't know why people defend it so much. Like,
Nostalgia.
well, no, I was actually talking to someone on tour about it yesterday after I was watching the FireRed commentary of it, and like, I just made a point of saying that I actually think the people give Sonic 06 a lot of grief for having a terrible plot, but at least it's better written than Mewtwo Strikes Back. And like, people took that as like, oh, it's major blaspheming or something, and whereas actually 06 is sporadic all over the place from start to finish, and so people aren't really following it as a linear track. Whereas with Mewtwo Strikes Back, they build this plot up, and then Mewtwo, he just suddenly flips personality just because of one bullshit moment. There's no sort of character development of Mewtwo realising that fighting's wrong and whatnot. It's just, oh, Ash died, he's back to life. Oh, fighting's wrong. Like, it's just such terrible writing, and I don't know why people still defend it.
NC covered that, didn't he? Like, it was such bullshit shit that he comes back to life.
I
The
had
ability to cry makes people come back to life. It's like, if I cry hard enough, like Jesus would come back to life.
yeah, like, I think I was probably like 5 or 6 when I first watched that film, and I think I had my first ever facepalm at that moment.
Yeah.
I don't think I really watched it properly, but the main thing I remembered was Mewtwo's voice, and I always thought it was an awesome voice.
It's a cool voice, but it's much better in the special when it's Dan Gray.
Nah, I prefer his voice in that.
I prefer Dan Gray's take on Mewtwo.
Thing is, it's like it's building up the whole story arc in the film. Like, oh, Pokemon should sometimes fighting is wrong, and then suddenly erase their minds. Did we learn anything? Nah, let's just carry on fighting.
What was the message behind that story?
Apparently, you shouldn't fight, and then
revolving around a series that fight all the
Without
time.
fighting.
revolving around the series there, you have to fight animals with other animals, and then they lose their memories in the end anyway.
So this film achieved absolutely nothing.
Oh, this is the Lance
Yeah.
bit.
But then again, Mewtwo Returns wasn't exactly any better because you had baby Nidoqueens.
Yeah, I don't know what that was about. I don't know whether they were supposed to be like artificial ones or
I
something.
think it was essentially to do with that because they're not exactly pure clones.
To be honest, I think at that point though, we're giving the writers too much credit.
Yes.
They probably just cocked up.
Yes,
Anyway, here's Lance, probably the coolest guy from the whole series.
definitely.
Yeah.
When you fought him in Gen 2, did you have like an orgasm? Because he has about 3 Dragonites.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, Lance gets his cocks up 3 times an hour. That's once for every Dragonite.
He's a Dragonite trainer. He has a Gyarados. What's Gyarados' Mega Evolution again? Dark. Does it get Crunch? No, it's still got Bite.
Yeah, Mega Gyarados should have been Dragon, or they should have left it alone.
It should have.
You know what it could actually have been? Like, you know those Chinese dragons you see?
Yeah,
like,
that's what it's
dragon
designed
back?
of.
Based off of. Heck, it's based off of mythology that a fish jumped over a waterfall and came out a dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They better make another Mega Evolution.
Yeah,
Let's
let's
scrap
fix
it.
it.
No, just make another one.
The fifth 5 of...
I love it. Like, we get to like generation 12 and there's like 20 different Mega Gyaradoses, the way they keep trying until Steven's happy with it.
Yeah.
No, just make one that's a dragon type. It makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, they did it with Charizard because, well, if they didn't, the
get
fan
killed.
base would have killed them.
What's that? Mega Charizard? It's now part Ice type. Wait.
I remember seeing like some people on Game Epic who's just saying like Mega Charizard Z, Fire Fairy type.
I could just imagine like the Digimon fans' reaction like when they said about Pokemon Mega type, like Mega Evolution. They're probably gonna, who's copying each other now?
Yeah, Pokemon ripped off Digimon. Pokemon came before Digimon, and these kind of transformations aren't owned by Digimon. They go by multiple other animes.
What's this? Creatures get more powerful?
With the help of a human ally?
Yeah.
This hasn't been done before.
Anyway, Gyarados is, because it's like water type, I haven't really got anything much to counter a water type, so this is the one that I'm sort of just ploughing through before I go and kill everything else with the Articuno.
You needed something for the water gym, for the ice trainer at the start.
Yeah, I did really, but
He's about to.
Hold on a minute. If you look at the terrain, it's like all grand and that.
Yeah.
If you're sending a Gyarados out, when it will like die,
Just flops around the ground.
I don't know, there are some like Gyarados outside the water in the anime, I think.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I don't think they're dependent on water, I think they just sort of thrive in water.
Oh, okay.
I remember seeing from the second Pokemon film, it's like when it's showing all the Pokemon going towards like where Lugia and the birds are, it's showing all these Pokemon surfing, and in the amidst the crowd of them, there's Ekans surfing with them.
Yeah, sure, why not?
What?
I do really like Pokemon 2000. I think that's a really good film. But, apart from like one obvious like plot hole, but that's Ash went to the Orange Islands to get the GS ball to return to Oak when he came back. Then Oak came to the Orange Islands during the process of the film, and Ash didn't give him the GS ball, which he had at this time.
Yeah, but the films are exactly canon.
Well,
I mean, yes, you could say that the Darkrai one was mentioned in the anime. Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. The first one technically followed the events of the anime, which, you know, the whole Giovanni having Mewtwo, and there's even
that one.
And there's even like the shot of Gary battling and whatnot. But
yes, I'll allow that one then.
Yeah. Anyway. He's got another dragon there.
But essentially, any area that's created in the films are never heard or seen of again in the anime. It's just like magical land created for the film. Hey, Unova was based off of New York, and then in the film, they're in New York. I mean, Unova's the size of New York, and suddenly they're in New York? What? They're in the region?
Yeah. It's best to leave it alone and try and
I think you're thinking too hard.
Yeah.
Okay, they called it New Talk City.
No, that's the origin of the city, okay? Do not steal. Anyway, Dragonite is outraged about me having an ice type.
I hate you.
Yeah.
I think it's just pissed off because it's not fully realised.
Yeah, it's not fully realised dragon. Yeah, he's got another Dragonite.
I'm not even sure what to think as... Articuno's paralysed and it's a flying type. Would it be on the ground and therefore affected by ground types?
I don't know. But, yeah.
Or does it have a wheelchair strapped to its legs so that it's flying?
No, maybe it's like a puppet. It's got like someone holding it up on strings and whatnot.
I'm just imagining that now, just a rod going across the ceiling and then pulling it up using ropes.
Yeah. Anyway, now we've beat the Elite Four. That means we're the champion, right?
Yep.
Pussy. Yeah. And we're gonna finish him off next part.